Hello viewer, I want to thank you for taking time to tune into this important, to this video, and also learn, and also we exchange ideas on the phases of the menstrual cycle. I believe that this video is going to communicate to you and answer some of the questions you have under the menstrual cycle. So last week, or in the previous video that I posted on my Facebook page, Science Corner 310, I did mention the overview of the menstrual cycle, and also I did mention some of the things that are involved in the menstrual cycle, such as the days, the safe periods, and also the dry days. So in this video, I will just focus on three things. Number one, I'm going to look at the phases of the menstrual cycle, which are the three phases of the menstrual cycle, including the following. Number one, I'm going to talk about the follicular phase. I'm going to talk about the ovulation phase, and also the last one, I'm going to talk about the secretory phase, or something to do with the post-ovulation phase. Now, I want to begin by stating that the menstrual cycle is divided into three phases, as alluded earlier. And each of these three phases has got its own unique duration. And these durations differ from women to women, or from one woman to the other woman. And also, we have to appreciate the fact that approximately the menstrual cycle is only supposed to take 28 days. Or if it to some irregularly women, it's supposed to take between 28 days to 37 days, to 35 days, sorry, to 35 days. So, however, we should also know that we can count our menstrual cycle the first day of the menstrual bleeding. So in case you are watching this video and you happen to start your menstrual cycle today, or you see your menstrual bleeding today, which is the 16th of October, Friday, you should count this is 16, so this means your menstrual cycle has begun. This is how we count our menstrual cycle. So from there, we can now look at what happens in these phases. What happens in these phases, because mostly these are the phases that can help us understand how the body is able to react to some of these changes, and also how we can keep ourselves away from getting unwanted pregnancies, and also how we can help ourselves have babies at the right time. So I'll begin with the follicular phase, which is also known as the post-ovulation phase. This phase begins before the ovulation phase. What normally happens is that there are two hormones that are secreted by the pituitary gland, which is part of the brain, and these hormones are sent to the ovaries. Now, which hormones are these? We are talking about the follicle stimulating hormone, the FSH, and also the estradiol, which are sent to the ovaries. Now, what happens when they reach there? They are going to stimulate the ovaries to make sure that it produces more follicles. And in each of these follicles, there is one egg that is going to grow and develop into a mature ovarian follicle. So once it happens in this way, it means that a mature egg, at some point when it is mature, it is going to trigger another stage. So immediately there is a mature ovarian follicle in the ovaries, this mature ovarian follicle is going to trigger another stage. Which stage is this? There is this stage called the ovulation phase. So in the ovulation phase, we understand very well that this, the follicular phase, this is the phase where an egg is now mature and it needs to be taken out for fertilization, and also for fertilization and further biological processes. So once it matures, then it is going to trigger another phase, which is the ovulation phase. So in the ovulation phase, from the biological point of view, ovulation simply means the releasing of an egg into the fallopian tube, so that the fertilization take place. Remember, the egg, scientifically, it is known as the ovum. It is the one that meets the sperm cells in the oviduct and then fertilization. So what normally happens is that this period before and after ovulation is referred to as ovulation. Of course, it is phase. It is referred as ovulation phase. The period before and after ovulation is known as ovulation phase. So it is during this time that a woman could now get pregnant, because there is a presence of an egg in the oviduct or the fallopian tube. If the mature sperms are present during this time, then the woman is going to get pregnant. So away from this one, we should also understand that during this time, the ovulation phase, what happens is that the mature ovarian follicle will rupture and it is going to discharge an ovum. That is what is going to happen. So there is no involvement of some hormones, but the previous stage, which is the follicular phase, there were two hormones that were involved in that process or in that phase. Now, immediately the egg is released into the fallopian tube, it triggers again another phase, which is the final, third or last phase in the menstrual cycle. Which is this? The luteal phase or secretory phase, or the post-ovulation phase. So what happens in this phase is that this is the last phase of the menstrual cycle. That is the first thing. That's the first point we have to understand. Now, it involves the creation of the corpus luteum. A corpus luteum, it is the one that is able to terminate, or it involves the termination in either pregnancy or degradation of the corpus luteum. So this phase involves the corpus luteum. So which is this corpus luteum? Since the ovary had to rupture, it forms some debris or some fragmentations. It is this fragmentation that forms what we are calling the corpus luteum. Imagine you are breaking the bottle, or the bottle has broken down, or you have dropped the bottle, you are broken down. What do you see? You see some of the particles. Those particles of fragmentations in the ovarian follicle, in the ovulation or in the ovaries, it is that which we are calling the corpus luteum. It tends to become an endocrine gland which secretes two hormones. One hormone is called estrogen and the other one is called the progesterone. So now the question is, what are the functions? What's the importance of these hormones? Okay. So the hormones becomes, or they are very important, these two hormones, the corpus luteum, the oestrogen and the progesterone, they are very, very important, because during menstruation we understand that menstruation is the shedding of the lining of the uterus, and during that time the thickness of the uterus reduces. So to maintain its thickness and also maintain the shape of the lining of the uterus for the term, therefore these two hormones are secreted in order to maintain the endometrium and also the inner lining of the uterus. These are some of the things that happens in these phases. So we have talked about three phases. The first one we talked about was the follicular phase. The second one we have talked about was is the ovulation phase, and the last one is the post-ovulation phase. This phase that comes after ovulation. Now, we understand that the purpose of releasing or discharging an ovum into the oviduct of the fallopian tube is to make it fertilized, right? Very good. So now, because it is not fertilized in some cases, what normally happens is that it is going to be discarded or discharged as in form of a pool of blood, and that's what we are calling the menstruation. The menstruation. So now some people have been wondering which days are safe days and which one are dangerous days. So let me just try to address these safe days. So the safe days for a woman after a period depend on the lifespan of the sperm cells and also the egg cell. So do not become very excited immediately you come from the menstrual cycle or your period ends, and then you are excited. So you should know that there is always the lifespan of the sperm cell. This depends, the safe days depends on the lifespan of the sperm cells and also the egg cells. Those are two important things that you are supposed to take into consideration. Now, what normally happens is that in most cases, ovulation happens on the 14th day of every month, okay, of the menstrual cycle. If the menstrual cycle is of average length 28 days, that is one thing that you should know. So, an average length of the menstrual cycle is 28 days. So, to those whose menstrual cycle has an average length of 28 days, then the menstrual the ovulation occurs on the 14th day of every month. So now we should know that the 14th day of every month, this is one thing that you should do also take into consideration. So if today it is the time that you have seen your breeding, the first breeding has occurred today, meaning that an egg was not released today, it was released the day before, because the egg is able to survive in your reproductive system for about 1 day, which is 24 hours. So what will happen is that if you see an egg today, breeding today, it means that your ovulation occurred the previous day. So meaning that if today is, for example, today it is the 16th of October, then it means that 15, that's when the ovulation took place. Now, this word 15, this number 15 does not mean it is the 15th of every month. This is your 14th day of your menstrual cycle. So, to be on the safe side, if you want to not to have a pregnancy, because the sperm cell is able to survive about between 3 to 5 days, you need to count 15, you go downwards, maybe to 9th of October. Those are the dangerous days or fatal days. We can call them dangerous days or fatal days. They are very dangerous if you are not ready to become pregnant, but they are safe and fatal days if you want to become pregnant. So if you have an unprotected sexual intercourse during this time, you will have a pregnancy. So you need to make sure that you understand this, and then also 5 days after your menstrual cycle, then at least on that time you are going to be safe. Now I'm cautioning you because this depends on the hormonal response of each person's body. So how your body responds matters most, because how your body responds to hormonal changes or to your body changes differs from the way it responds to somebody's body reactions. So that is one thing that you should know. So if there is no fertilization that has taken place, please just know that then an egg is going to be discarded. Remember that other ovulation dates could be the 12th day or 19th day of every month to other people whose hormones also respond in that regard. So it is possible that if a woman if a woman have unprotected sex during this time or during this phase, they are likely to have a pregnancy. Now, we should also know, as I come to my conclusion in this video, I want also to thank you and also encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page, Science Corner 310.